Hello everyone, welcome back to the Q Sound Productions YouTube channel, or welcome if this is your first time. This is Soundwave again because I'm the only person who runs this channel, and I'm here to talk to you about a topic that has always been on my mind for a good amount of time, and a concept that I've feared since the day that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite released all the way back in 2017. And that's the death of one of the greatest fighting games ever created. Marvel vs. Capcom, for those who don't know, is a fighting game series so iconic and influential that most people, including myself, thought it can never die. But in the year of our Lord 2026, we are in a new age of heroes, if you will. And by heroes, I'm talking about political corruption, public uncertainty, and distrust in our governments and higher-ups, and continued distractions every day from the sheer amount of crazy stuff that takes place on a daily basis. But Marvel vs. Capcom was pretty cool, and it's a franchise I know nobody wants to see die, so what's the deal? What's this shiny new Tokon game that most people are talking about right now? What's with Capcom just randomly giving us a lovingly crafted collection of their classic Marvel games to now continued radio silence on the franchise's end? Well, I'm here to discuss all of this and hopefully circle it back to some cautious optimism about the franchise's future. To start off, it's no secret as to why Marvel vs. Capcom is so revered and well respected as a video game franchise. Developed by the CPS2 system hardware in 1994, Capcom created their first ever Marvel Comics focused fighting game, X-Men Children of the Atom, a love letter to the X-Men comics of its era. Capcom had previously worked with Marvel before to create a Punisher beat-em-up game, a mix of Marvel's financial struggles causing them to aggressively license out their properties to various entertainment companies, and Capcom's developers being genuine fans of the characters, led to both companies working together to create these revolutionary arcade games. But Children of the Atom was Capcom's clear focus as to how the future of their fighting games would develop. Children of the Atom, or CODA, as I love to say, was the blueprint for Capcom's faster pace and combo-focused gameplay style. This led to 1995's Marvel Superheroes, 1996's X-Men vs. Street Fighter, 1997's Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, 1998's Marvel vs. Capcom, and so on. Each game built upon the mechanics of the last, creating and revolutionizing the concept of a tag team, high-energy fighting game. Marvel vs. Capcom created a unique and vibrant style that many games and media try to emulate to this day. One of Marvel's most successful Disney Plus shows, it's a little obscure, I don't know if you heard of it, it's called X-Men 97. One of the producers said that the team took heavy inspiration from 90s X-Men arcade games like Children of the Atom and X-Men vs. Street Fighter. So clearly we see just how much legacy Capcom's fighting games have had on the world. Now, what about the topic of games dying? I've seen so many people online and around the internet and even in the real world throw around the word dead. And when it comes to games, for example, when a game loses a significant amount of popularity or becomes less active than it once was in recent years, that game is apparently dead. And I don't agree with this at all. Okay, sure, some fighting games, for example, don't reach consistent enough numbers to regularly find consistent matches online, but I mean, to call them dead, I don't think that's fair to the people still actively playing those games. Let's look at some examples. Yes, I'm actually doing this. Let's look at one of my favorite fighting games to come out from the past year. I'm talking about Fatal Fury: City of the Wolves. If you haven't played this game yet, you're doing yourself a huge disservice, as everything you would want and everything you need. Okay, heads up, I'm going to be using Steam charts as a metric for this argument because I think it's a pretty decent one. Of course, this doesn't account for, other platforms. So when the game first released, the game peaked around a pretty respectable 4,592 players. That's decent for a fighting game, especially an SNK one. Now it kind of sits at 125 currently active on Steam as of August 17th, 2026. So again, would you call this game dead when about 125 people are still actively playing it? Not taking into account PlayStation and Xbox, of course. Let's look at another older fighting game. Here, Dead or Alive 6. Now, Last Round just released, so let's see how many people are actively playing that. And roughly 53 people are playing. This one's kind of weird because it's a new version and still people are playing like the old, I don't know, it's all over the place. But basically, would you say that this game is dead when around 53 people are currently and actively enjoying this game? Again, not taking into account other platforms. And let's look at an even more obscure fighting game. I don't know, freaking Fantasy Strike. A pretty solid and beginner-friendly fighting game that's honestly pretty obscure too. Steam says there's currently three, count them, 3 people playing at the time of writing this video. would you say this game is dead when 3 people are keeping it alive? God bless their souls, these 3 troopers are actively playing this game. My entire point with this is that no game, I would argue, is inherently dead when there's always at least one person keeping it alive in some way. Yes, it will become harder to find people to play matches with, but a game is only truly dead if there's currently 0 ways to play the game in an accessible format. And for the longest time, I would argue that Marvel vs. Capcom was partially dead, but only because Capcom and Marvel deemed it so. The Dark Ages were an era where the classic Marvel vs. Capcom games were not readily available for purchase, causing for its cultural relevance to slowly and sadly become less and less apparent in the public eye. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was readily available on PS4 and Xbox, and while that re-release was solid and a great win for game preservation, it was only a stepping stone, as the classic games that build that foundation were nowhere to be seen. This is when I would classify a game as truly dead, when there's no official means for the public to play them. I know that PC and emulation is the antithesis to this, but for the sake of many fans, I'm sure most people can agree that we wanted these games to be officially released, to be legitimate, and to have its rightful place in Capcom's library and history, and of course to not be forgotten. But flash forward to modern day and Capcom has released all the classic games onto one modern console. So everything's okay, right? World peace has been achieved, and we can finally stop killing one another. Well, not exactly. While Marvel vs. Capcom clearly pulled their weight to deliver a fantastic collection, Marvel Tokons exists. Arc System Works' Marvel-focused fighting game. And this is a major factor at play for this argument because since the 90s, Marvel only ever worked with Capcom to deliver arcade fighting games. Let me say that again. They've only ever worked with Capcom to deliver arcade fighting games. Capcom exclusively was known for having the Marvel property under lock and key when it came to fighting games as a whole. No other developer created a Marvel fighting game. Okay, I mean like traditional fighting game. Okay, haha, don't make me laugh. Anyways, specifically, this is a huge deal to see another fighting game developer have the Marvel license. And this instilled a lot of worry and dread in many people, that Marvel vs. Capcom is practically dead and never coming back. But here's where I disagree. First off, we have seen actual objective proof that Capcom and Marvel are on good terms. I mean, this collection for one is definitive proof that both companies are on good terms to re-release a bunch of classic games. We also have objective fan interest in Marvel vs. Capcom as well. The MVC Fighting Collection has sold well over 1 million units. Really think about that. A collection of older games, specifically fighting games, a notoriously niche genre of video games, has sold over 1 million and continues to sell pretty well. That's already great proof that people love and are interested in a future for this franchise, and it proves that Marvel vs. Capcom is a huge name. We've also had actual Capcom developer interviews expressing how they are on good terms with Marvel and are interested in a future for Marvel vs. Capcom as a whole.
Speaking of, talking with Marvel, can you describe what Capcom's relationship is with Marvel right now?
Yeah, it's very positive. As we mentioned, we've been in talks with them for a few years now, and they've really been excited and motivated to release these classic games. So overall, it's been really good and positive.
You mentioned in another interview that Capcom has big dreams for the Versus series. Can you talk a little bit about what those dreams are and what the Versus series means to you as a whole?
Yeah, this doesn't just apply to the Versus series. We have a lot of other legacy fighting games that we know fans out there are really want them to be re-released again on modern platforms, and the feeling is mutual on the development side. We want people to get to know all these other classic games. So hopefully what we can do right now is to try to re-release them, and so that people who may have never had the chance to play those games to get familiarized with them, and from there hopefully we can go into bigger and better things.
I can hear you.
Marvel Tokons' existence doesn't ruin any of this. If anything, Marvel is most likely experimenting with different developers to expand their brand new styles. However, I do believe that as long as Tokon stays active in DLC and active updates, they clearly have a hold and monopoly over Marvel fighting games for the time being. I also want to point out that time is going to be very relatively short-lived compared to the massive amount of time that Capcom has had with this IP. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. I strongly believe there is a future for Marvel vs. Capcom. In the very foreseeable future, probably not anytime soon, but my best bet will be that in the next couple years after Tokon has had its time to shine, we'll get something. I know it's easy to doom and gloom about many things nowadays, but I am holding out hope for Marvel vs. Capcom's return. because when it does happen, I called it, you guys called it, everyone watching this video, right? Let's hope and pray that it lives up to the legacy of those classic games. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you for, sticking around. Hopefully I'm going to stay more consistent and just upload hopefully weekly from this time being, and I'll see you guys in the next one.